Hi, Marty. I'm the real Marty Levinson. Keep on cutting.
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine.
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine.
Come on, baby, don't you wanna go? Come on, baby, don't you wanna go? Back to that lemon light city, sweet home Chicago. 224.
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine show with the greatest cameraman around, Sonny Hirsch, and your host, Avi Myers.
Thank you, Marty. Avi Myers, Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine, a presentation of Sonny Hirsch and myself. Web us, www.ntnm.org. 200,000 shows watched, all on on YouTube anyway. And you can, ntnm.org will give you the link for that. Also, you can Facebook me, AVY, MEYERS, and if I flash my name on the show, just other things that leak. No, just kidding. But anyway, check me out on Facebook, and you can friend me there. And we actually, sometimes when we run out of, when somebody drops out last minute, we get new victims from Facebook. So, it's a good way to communicate with me, and it's a good way to, get your weekly reminders about the show and everything else. We're real big on community policing. That Sonny runs, he's the chairman of the District Advisory Committee of the 24th District. We've just changed meeting times around here, so we can't tell you to go to camps24.org for meetings right now. But they will be accurately shown on ClearPath. And you can always call 311 or call the Neighborhood Relations Office at 312-744-6321. And I want to give a lot of credit to Sergeant Christian and Officer Manawa, who I always get that wrong. Manaway. Thank you, Sonny. And, of course, Officer Horshak now? Kerry. Hi. 3 people doing the jobs of 8, and good luck, and you guys are doing great. We appreciate it. So anyway, 2412 meets Thursdays at 6. 2413 meets, it's the second Thursday of the month at 6, and 2413 meets at 7 p.m. on that same second Thursday, so you can go from one meeting to the next. It is, now first, before I introduce my next guest, I guess I should say, rain and thunder and lightning, oh my, because we have had, he talks about how we have the storm of the decade every year. Well, we really had a storm for the ages that'll probably be a record setter for at least another day or two. And of course, I'm talking about...
Hopefully not.
The guy whose job it is to flush all this stuff from our systems, kind of like antifreeze, wintertime. And that, of course, would be the president of the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Greater Chicago, Terry O'Brien. Terry, how you doing?
Good, Avi. Thanks for having me on.
My pleasure.
Did you forget that song? Rain, rain, go away, come again another day?
Well,
you learned that growing up?
It wasn't supposed to rain. As a matter of fact, when we're filming this, which is shortly before the show, it wasn't supposed to rain till tonight, and I put the hose on the garden earlier, last night, and sure enough, to the tune of rain.
I heard it got very dark up here this morning, so I was downtown,
spooky
and
dark,
yeah, they said the rain might have come earlier than they thought it was going to come into the area.
You would think the sun stopped shining because we don't have because of the alder person, but who knows?
But we've had a wet spring and summer so far. April was the wettest in history, and looks like July is going to be the wettest in history.
Well, July is the second most, and all it takes is one more rain, which might have been today's to push it.
Today
and also
tonight.
July was one of the, not July, May. Was it May?
May was pretty wet, too. I don't know if it was the wettest on record, but I know April was.
No, but, we're talking, at O'Hare, they measured 6.92 inches of rain, which in the equivalent of snow would be 69.2 inches of snow.
10 inches of snow per 1 inch of rain.
And in terms of and I'm not doing this the way you think, people, and 69 is also memorable from the standpoint that there are actually 68 varieties of fish now available in the Chicago River and the associated waterways, the Sanitary Canal, and we're still waiting for the gefilte to be the 69th.
Well, we're thinking that there might be a 69th 69th one there right now.
Really?
Yeah, but it hasn't been proven yet, and that's the Asian carp. So
I was thinking you might say
we
that.
still think they're south of the barrier, but there's been DNA tests that have come up positive in certain areas, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the fish is in that particular part of the waterway. It could be
No, or maybe
water
somebody
coming out
had
of
a
a
fish
village.
burger with...
Exactly, or a seagull had a nice meal.
Or, yeah, that could be. Or, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you would figure the seagull poop would... It registered. I mean, when they start talking about there being drugs in the water from the stuff people ingest and dispose of.
Yeah, and that's one of the problems that we're faced with, is the fact that a lot of it's excreted through the human waste chain, and we end up with it. So I mean, it's not all from people flushing them down the toilet, which we hope people wouldn't do that now. We'd hope that they'd handle it properly as far as disposal and getting rid of their old and outdated pharmaceuticals.
Right, and the illegal ones too if the cops ring the doorbell. But
I'm not going there.
I'm sorry, I'm in a strange mood today. But you know what? When you get
barometric pressure,
6.9
Avi. That's what it is.
It is. And by the way, it was when I woke up this morning and I looked at the clock, I was wondering if it was night or if it was day. It was that dark.
It's dark, yeah.
It really was.
Yeah.
So, and it's more than just the election. But in any event.
I almost thought I was going to have to call you this morning, but it passed through, so we're lucky.
No, that's good. So, you know what? Let's talk about the federal government, basically, and I consider this something of a profile of courage on your part, the way it ended up from your standpoint. But the federal government has decided that and the way they use the word, even that Tribune reporter, I forget the guy's name.
Michael Hawthorne.
Right, who by the way, I've invited on the show a couple of times and I never heard boo from him. We're talking about, when I read the description of how it's going to cost every family a little under $7 a month. I mean, he is basically, that's like a salesman on a stump. You're talking about $80 a year at least for every single family to basically, from my standpoint, accomplish about nothing.
Well, we spent a great deal of time, staff has, and the board had given them the authority to go ahead and study this particular issue. This is precedent setting in what we've done here locally compared to what has been done across the United States in disinfecting effluent from POTWs, which are publicly operated treatment works. There's been all this conversation that, well, every city in the United States does it. Well, not every city has done the extensive studies that we've done to determine on whether there's a benefit for the monies that they want us to spend.
Which we've actually talked about this for about 2 years now. Now, is the study actually complete, or is the study still ongoing?
The studies are completed. There was all this data and information, and the expert witnesses presented their testimony to the Illinois Pollution Control Board.
And this is the University of Illinois doing the study?
Yeah, they did the epidemiology study. We had an aquatic life study done. There's been sampling done of the inland waterway system to determine the fecal coliform counts and stuff like that compared to the lake levels, and to compare to the regulations for beaches on the lakefronts as well as on coastal waters. So there are no standards right now for inland waterway systems or river systems for swimming purposes. And one of the issues that made me somewhat against it, one is that I looked at the science, I looked at what our staff was doing, and I looked at everything else that was available for us to be able to look at it and make our decisions. And really, we were the only agency that took on the burden of doing these studies and going through the science aspect of determining on whether there's a benefit to the dollars that we're going to spend. The other thing that people need to look at is we're not the only source of the problem. You have the city of Chicago that has combined sewer overflows. You have the suburban communities, 52 older suburban communities. They also have combined sewer overflows. Those sewers during heavy rain events empty into the river. And what's part of that? That's contaminants that's coming out of people's homes, out of industry, off the roads and things of that nature. You also have stormwater discharges. You also have stormwater runoff. And you also have a bottom sediment that's totally contaminated, which the Army Corps has done evaluations in various areas of the Chicago area waterway system and has made that determination. And nobody's looking at that aspect of it.
And you're talking serious heavy metals, and we're not
Well,
talking...
heavy metals,
you know,
PCBs, organic material, things of that nature, which all becomes resuspended when you have a large vessel that goes down the river. So it just all gets stirred up in the water. And, you know, my only concern is that if we're going to spend the money to solve one problem, why don't we spend the money to solve all 4 or 5 problems or sources to the problem? And that they're not looking at that. They're figuring that if we spend the money to disinfect at our treatment plant and we finish TARP, that's going to be the end of it. Everybody's going to be able to swim in that river. There's no way. There's no way, because you have those other sources you have to deal with. So, I mean, if we go ahead and start disinfecting, which we're going to be required to.
Yeah, the federal government didn't give you a choice.
No. And they didn't give us the money either. So it's basically an unfunded mandate. So where the money's going to come from are you, the listeners, the taxpayers. And when the motion was passed by the board,
less than $7 a month,
well,
$80 a year.
When the motion was passed by the board, it was passed with a percentage of tax increases in there, anywhere from 12 to 15% increase in taxes. On top of that, another 8% user charge increase for industry in the area. And first of all, we're under tax caps.
Yeah.
So, one, there would have to be a resolution passed for us to be able to do this, or to raise the revenue for it, you know, to the people in Cook County. Let the voters make that decision. And I've been saying that from day one. If this is what the voters want in Cook County, then they'll come out and they'll voice their opinion, and they'll know that they'll have to pay for it. But right now, it's just a handful of people that are looking to have this thing done. And it's going to be the whole county that's going to pay for it, for the small handful of people that really want it.
And another thing, too, in following and talking to you about what your estimates were for it to cost, what it was going to cost, and what they're saying it's going to cost, it would seem to me that what Washington is talking about is a very low number.
Well, our figures came from a study we did. We evaluated 3 different technologies: ozone, ultraviolet, chlorinization, and dechlorinization. And ultraviolet was the cheapest of all 3. And and that's where we came up with our numbers. Now, the U.S. EPA said, well, it's only going to cost $74 million. I said, fine. I said, hire the contractor to build at that amount. If we're wrong, why don't you guys build it then?
Yeah.
And then we'll operate it. Because it's going to cost us $10 million on an annual basis after that. We got no takers when we said that, because I don't know if that number is accurate. They said $74 million. But the thing is and I want your listeners and viewers to understand, we have never been opposed to making sure that the water quality in this county has been safe. That has been our mission for 122 years. It's just gotten to the point where now that these people want to swim in the river. And you got 32 miles of lakefront and beaches that you can swim.
Very nearby.
Exactly. Not that far from the inland waterway system. And what they also don't address is the fact that what type of atmospheric conditions and energy consumption are we going to end up realizing by having to use ultraviolet to treat this effluent? They're not discussing that, and what particulate matter and what contaminants are going to be spewed into the atmosphere for us to do this, additionally than what is already being spewed out right now.
So we're talking about them causing extra pollution.
Yeah, but they only look at the one situation. They only look at the water situation. They're not looking at the air situation or the communities of which these Commonwealth Edison facilities are at. Little Village, Pilsen. There's two facilities out there.
Oh,
and those would be the sources of generating the power for us to run these operations at our treatment.
Oh, so you get to have more toxic fumes coming up from the coal-generated plants.
Nobody's talking about that.
Lovely world. Well, by the way, this is typical of the short-sighted administration currently residing in Washington.
But the thing is the president, when he became president, he said he would like to see more decisions made based on science than just on emotion.
And you have always been for the science.
Well, I think everybody should be for the science if this is what we're dealing with here.
Yeah.
But everybody's just turning a blind eye to it now and say, well, we'll do it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And that's been the attitude, and that's why we're in a fiscal situation that we're in. Not only on a local level, but on a state level, and even on the national level.
So in a bad economy, we're going to raise taxes to do something that won't, not only will not successfully clean the water, but will cause additional pollution in a variety of ways.
Well, yeah, from air pollution and things of that nature.
Right, cost all this additional money And if I'm not mistaken, too, there's other problems besides for that.
Well, Avi, we just had a tremendous storm we just talked about at the beginning of the show last Saturday.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many people's basements got flooded again. And it was a year to that date, last year, we had a similar storm that hit the region. You know, we need to get more involved and more active in bringing storm water remediation projects to help these people alleviate some of the basement flooding and things of that
people
nature.
don't realize you can't. There's only so fast you can go with what you've got in the pittance they give you on an annual basis.
And those are the people I would ask: do you want to swim in a river or do you want to swim in your basement? No, that should be the question.
Yeah,
I can tell you what their answer would be.
The river.
Yeah.
It's funny because one of my mother's favorite expressions was "go jump in the lake," so I think we'll change that to the river for those guys.
But
Because actually, the lake is kind of nice.
it is. You know, I mean.
So we're talking about this. By the way, and we're not talking either like on the North Shore Channel, which is like about 5.5 blocks from the house here.
Yeah.
Okay, it's like.
Talking about the North Shore Channel, you're talking about the Cal-Sag Channel, the Calumet River System.
No,
down there, as you know, historically growing up on the south side, all of that was industrial activity down there.
Industrial activity,
steel
waste,
mills.
Right.
You know.
Oh yeah, as a matter of fact, at Rainbow Beach, where we grew up near the beach, the steel mill was right there between 79th and 83rd.
That's right, USX.
Just where they had some festival for the first time in a million years. So yeah, we got to, and that lovely smoke that was spewing down. What a marvelous sight. Yeah,
You didn't hang your clothes out, did you? After laundering them.
I want to tell you, there's days we go in the water and you just knew the water was foul. Yeah. I mean, because that stuff was, they were dumping in the lake much more so.
Oh yeah, well, back in the early 80s, the US EPA went after a couple companies over in northwest Indiana because they were discharging to the lake. And we were ending up with the oil goblins on the various beaches on the south end of the county here.
Right, and as a matter of fact, the state of Indiana was very interested in doing some more dumping to get a certain kind of oil refinery in Indiana. Yeah. And that got disallowed. But in any event, what people need to realize too is that when you've got a man-made canal, and this is something you taught me, it's not exactly like you take a step into the water and it gets a little bit deeper and a little bit deeper and a little deeper. One step and you're at least 10 feet down.
Yeah, yeah. There's no.
So there's a drowning danger like crazy.
That's right. There's no ingress or egress portion to the zero depth onto the middle of it like some of these pools you have in the area. But there's steep drop-offs. And the other thing too is the currents that are in these rivers. Because of the runoff that comes from the land, that water's moving, whenever you have a heavy rain event. So I know they said that we use an excuse about some poor kid drowning, but it's not an excuse. We're just pointing out the facts of what happened.
Yeah, and these are exactly the kind of people who will forget exactly what they say when God forbid, those kids do drown. Yeah. Or adults.
Yeah, and we're not using it as an excuse. We're just looking at the fact that, hey, we've done all the science.
They have never addressed anything about the drop-off. I'm sorry, so I interrupted you. So you've done the science.
Well, the science is all done. It's all presented. And like I said, our board took action to go ahead and disinfect before the Illinois Pollution Control Board ruled on it. But the pressure was coming from the US EPA.
Now, you brought a sign, and we'll flash it on the screen. And why don't you explain to us?
Well, yeah, the graphic that I brought was, it shows the river lock system. Again, this weekend, my phone was ringing off the hook Saturday morning. People are saying, open up the locks, open up the locks. Well, you'll see on that graphic that there's the normal dry weather day and then the storm day. The normal dry weather day, the river is lower than the lake. So during the rainstorm, during the initial part of a rainstorm, if we were to open up the locks, all that Lake Michigan water would end up in the river system and create a further problem of flooding. So we have to wait for about a 5-foot swing where the elevation of the river comes above the lake by 2 to 3 feet before we can actually open up the sluice gates, or what we call the river locks. And there's a specific time frame when that's done. It's controlled through our waterways control room at 100 East Erie, in which we're in contact with the Army Corps of Engineers and all the other people involved with the waterway system here in Cook County.
Now, let's understand, too, how much rain it is, and even if the deep tunnel were finished right now, you're talking about, what, 22, 23, 24 billion gallons?
When it's completed, about 22 billion gallons.
which basically 15 billion gallons is an inch of rain in
throughout
Chicago.
Cook County. Yeah.
So that's an inch and a half of rain, which is substantial, which used to be sometimes the highest rainfall in a given year. But 6.92 inches of rain would roughly translate into 105 billion gallons.
Yeah. Well, but that particular storm was localized. It wasn't across the whole region.
We didn't have that much here.
South barely got anything.
Yeah.
On Sunday, the south side ended up getting some where we didn't get much on the north side because we actually only opened up at Wilmette and Chicago. We didn't have to open down on the south side.
Now,
to go to the lake.
What people don't understand too is you had your basement ruined a couple of times.
Yeah, 5 times, and then I finally learned.
So what stopped it this time?
Well, I put overhead sewers in.
You
know, and that's taking care of the problem. So, but my brother got it this time. Both my brothers got it.
You know what?
Time, so.
On the way out today, I have to show you my neighbor's illegal sump pump out front, and I'm on a campaign. It's also a mosquito.
Where's he
breeding
pumping
ground.
it?
Right into the front by my house.
To the lawn?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's good. We don't want to pump it in the sewer.
No. I understand from your standpoint, but from my standpoint,
well, that's the problem in the city of Chicago. We don't want the homeowners to be a nuisance to their neighbors. You know, when they disconnect their downspouts and their sump pumps from going into the sewer. You know, there's some good landscape material now that you can put in place that you can divert the water to your lawn and things of that nature, or to your backyard.
Well, I'll have to show you. This is not only illegal, but it was kind of messy in a mosquito breeding ground.
It's a pool.
So yeah, it's like a little pool out there, and you can't walk by the edge of my property because it's like a swamp over there.
Is it on the side of your house?
I'll show you.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Afterwards, but anyway, fix it, lady. There's more too, but that's another show.
Does she watch your show?
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. Yes, I'll find out. Well, I've talked to her about it. I mean,
how about Marty? Does Marty watch your show?
Actually, Marty now no longer. Marty's got Dish. We're not on Dish.
Oh, really?
So, but you know what? He's got to keep up with all the Hi, I'm Marty Levinsons. So he's checking it out on YouTube.
Well, there you go.
So, but you know, I do find that even though people check it out on YouTube, if they've actually got the station, you know, they're much more likely to watch it. And what I've been pushing too is anybody on the internet can watch what I like to call the live screaming video from Evanston. ECTV6 in Evanston has a continual feed of the show. And you can like go to ECTV, turn on channel 6, 10 o'clock on Tuesdays, and 8 o'clock Thursday night. So actually, if you really want to double your pleasure, and you're watching this in Chicago, and right now it is 7:52, okay, in 8 minutes in Evanston, okay, you can see the whole show over again. So you can get two Terrys for the same buck.
So you got a constant run up there, huh?
So in any event, so you're going to have to spend. So we're really talking about at least $80. No, I'm sorry.
But that's not the end. I mean, that's not the end of it. There's going to be other issues that I'm sure we're going to have to that will be placed upon us with our MPDS permit to get our permits at our 3 treatment plants. One, they're now talking about the dissolved oxygen levels in the stream not being as high as they should be. So we may have to spend money to add some additional technology to deal with those particular issues. Another one is phosphorus and nutrient removal. There's no really standards in the state of Illinois right now, where there is in Wisconsin and some of the other states. There's talk that they might implement something of that nature. So our staff is going to be coming to us sometime here near the end of the summer. We're going to have a committee hearing on that to find out what those additional costs would be if we were told that we'd have to do that as well.
So basically, at a time when we're short policemen and we're short graffiti removal and we're short so many other, and the potholes aren't being fixed all due to lack of money, we're going to force a government agent, the Obama administration is going to force a government agency to throw away hundreds of millions of dollars for something that really has almost no benefit.
Well, one positive thing, though, Avi, is just recently we got our AAA bond rating from all 3 bond rating agencies again, so there's something positive going on there.
Oh, no, that sounds good.
Seeing that everybody else's ratings are going down,
and by the way,
we're holding our own.
That's because you try to be, that's because you know,
fiscally responsible.
Yes, and you're trying not to spend people's money. That's for
right.
sure.
That's right. But people don't have to worry. We're there to, you know, take care of their wastewater on a daily basis.
Yeah, you flush it, and they're there. They're there to take care of you.
Yeah, if we hit them with many more taxes, they'll take care of us.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Kathleen. It has to go into each show, anyway, that you're on. But whatchamacallit? So, any other district? Well, there's a lot of district issues at any given time.
Yeah, we've been it's been busy between Asian carp, the whole disinfection issue, these other issues that I just mentioned with regards to phosphorus and nutrient removal and dissolved oxygen stuff, and then our budget. I mean, we're halfway through our 2011 budget year, and we're now starting to evaluate what we need to do for 2012. As you said, I mean, things are tough. A lot of industries leaving the area, and a lot of foreclosures going on. So hopefully we can maintain the level of revenue that comes into us. But as I said, if some of these other issues if we're saddled with some of these other issues, we're going to have to look for every penny that we can possibly find in order to be in compliance with what the federal government wants us to do, and the state government.
Somebody sent me an email today from Roger Keats, who was here with you at the
He's
same
in Texas
time.
now.
Yeah, he is. He basically got sick and tired of the tax structure and the way government is run here, and he went to a place that's more business friendly. I mean, he was banging his head, trying to make this a more business friendly climate.
Well, I was just reading somewhere last week that Indiana was showing a surplus in their budget last year. So that's a neighboring state.
Well, basically, listen, this government's going to try very hard to make everybody poor by putting gambling machines everywhere and draining their pockets. And I don't know. This is a very strange government. But in any event, no, this state is not that fiscally sound. And then when you try and then there's so many things that need to be done. There's infrastructure, there's bridges, there's roads, not to mention the police, which I think is so important. And
and that's the problem. We've neglected our infrastructure, and part of a lot of the problems with this flooding issue is I'm going out to another meeting tomorrow night, which I've been doing regularly over the last couple of years because of the rains that we've had, is that we have not increased the capacities in the local sewers, and the communities can't afford it. And the only way to see if you can get help is either from the state and their feds, and they can't afford it, neither of them. So we're in a real predicament. I mean, we got to start looking at the infrastructure because it's crumbling right beneath our feet.
Yeah, and you know what? That was the one thing when I heard about Obama's program, I was really hoping that was where the money was going to go, into infrastructure. I mean, that's one thing that, whether you want to argue that Franklin Delano Roosevelt was right or wrong, and if he helped the economy or didn't help, at least he built a solid infrastructure during the Depression.
Well, they got off on the right foot. They were doing the stimulus program last year, with regards to, that was mostly transportation work. But
no, there is some stuff that was done, but too many of it was in the form of maybe a payroll tax or something like that, rather than directly pump the money into projects, because the infrastructure is a problem right now. There's no question about it. And if you're talking about sewers crumbling, I mean, if the sewers really crumble, you're talking about a serious health problem.
Oh, sure. I mean, that's why we're here. I mean, protect the health and safety of the residents of the county.
Yeah, and this country, state, and city are not exactly getting any richer.
No.
So, hey, let's go disinfect someplace that's useless for anybody, and whatever. In any event, at this point, I don't want to get you in too much trouble.
That's all right.
But anyways,
I can speak about it. I voted against it.
And by the way, I give you all the credit in the world. I mean, and I know a lot of the other commissioners believed exactly as you did, but didn't have the courage to vote correctly, because they had to be on the so-called politically correct side of the issue, even though the real correct side of the issue was your vote and not theirs.
Well, and here, Avi, I'm here to represent all of Cook County, not just a certain segment of it. So,
Why don't you? There's a city or two that you don't have.
Well, but I was listening to the people. I was listening to our staff, which we gave them the money and the resources to go out and evaluate this whole change in the process, and they were the only ones that brought anything to the table. So
at this point, I want to thank you very much, Terry O'Brien.
Thanks, Avi.
Thank you, Sonny, and thank you for watching, everybody. Got to save time for some Marty Levinsons. Bye. 28:45. That went quick.
I was going to say, I didn't know you were doing a full show.
Yeah, we did. Well,
I thought I was going to go in with the other group.